What's up, everybody? If you don't know who I am, I'm not gonna announce it anymore. I used to say I'm RDV, but if you can't tell what that is over here, then anything I say it to you is not gonna make sense.
If all of you people that aren't watching don't know who he is by now,
If you can't read a simple, if you can't read at all, why are you on this channel? Education's hard. All right, I was telling Brain backstage, I only have 7 new books this week. Not a lot. And it's kind of a small week for me, which is nice because after having just telling Brain backstage, I only have 7 new books.
in case you missed what you said the first time.
I don't ever do that again. I don't want to hear myself at all.
None of us do.
I know.
It's certainly not twice. I'm mad at myself.
I feel like I always sound a much higher voice than when I sound like here in person. And so it's like, what the heck? How do I sound like? Hi guys, I'm Puppeteen.
Maranya, it might be time to dust off the chairs in the naughty corner and send them both there to learn some punctuality.
Who's learning bad times from Puppeteen? Me? No. I trained Puppeteen. I am his Jedi governor. He went to the dark side. All right.
Did you say you went to the dork side?
Something dork. Yeah. All right. Since we're waiting for Zach, there's not that many books to talk about. We'll talk about the few that we have. This is a book that I did not get a chance to read, but mainly because I have to go back and read the previous issue because jumping into a Grimm Fairy Tales halfway in, it gets confusing because they don't really give you a follow-up story. You just say, hey, last week we had Belle teaming up with her. Now it's Gretel. So I actually want to get the full story and stuff. And I'm guessing this is a new story arc, or at least continuing story arc. That's basically because I guess the main story follows, I think, Sela, who's supposed to be like Snow White, I guess. I'm not sure what her role is in the whole Xenoscope. But I think
she started off as like a horror host. She framed the stories.
Yeah.
And at some point, just like they did with Vampirella, they integrated her into the universe.
So she's like the main character, I guess, I imagine, for everything. But the way she dressed her colors, it reminds me of being like Snow White if they had her, being a badass with a sword. So that is my number 7 for this week. Alrighty. Let me turn my phone on so I can hear myself. All right, now it's phone. Now we have 4 people watching. Number 6 for this week. Bloodhunt, number 5 of 5. And did differently than I thought it was going to. I mean, I had some ideas. Some ideas were speculated going around. My biggest issue with this because they had Blade's illegitimate daughter in here who does not exist. They were really trying to say, oh, she might be the key to rescuing her father, who's possessed by this Varney thing, a spirit. And basically, the way they do is Avengers take the fight to Varney. Thor basically challenges Varney and says, "God, the God, let's fight." And he's like, he has to call Mjolnir, which was basically over the event was heated into space. And so basically, so Thor is almost getting his ass kicked. But what solves the problem, all this, is actually Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom becomes Sorcerer Supreme because Stephen Strange, who is not in his body, at this point, I don't know. I call this up to bad writing because in the Doctor Strange tie-in series, that was ongoing tie-in, just tying into this. Wong had basically was fighting against Stephen Strange's body, who basically had Blade turned him into a vampire. Blade had basically bit him. So out of desperation, Stephen and Clea basically separated Stephen's body from his from his spirit astral form, and they went to go seek Doom. While Stephen's body was basically back at the Sanctum Sorum, and Victor Strange, whose body this corporeal basically form had been stuck in the mirror world. It was escaped with the help of Varney, went into Steven's body, and fought Wong to a standstill till Bats, the ghost dog, basically called on the god of the dogs, and basically scared or steered Steven's brother out of the body, and Steven's body was transformed back from a vampire into a human. So at this point, I'm thinking, like, wouldn't Steven know? Like, he have some connection to his body. It's like, hey, something's different. But because he was desperate, and like I said, it's mid-K. Like I said, he's not the best. When it comes, it's like he's not the guy I'd want for an event. He's a guy that I like in a few stories because that's all he can really handle, and that's seems to be a lot of these guys. They get thrown into these events like Williamson like this, and then they suffer on other books because they're stretched too thin.
Yeah, I've heard you talk a lot about this series and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, two things. Jackson, we need to know what you got from my comic shop. I would have liked to see, because I read the original 40 years ago.
Yeah.
When it was self-contained in Doctor Strange. I would have loved to have seen this kind of event done with the writers of 40 years ago.
Yes.
I think how good it would have been.
Because Wanda actually makes a thing, and like because they free Wanda from being a prisoner of these five soldiers of Varney, basically vampire soldier gods, and they Steven's not Steven, but like I think it was Black Panther. Tony says it's like now you're free now. Wanda cast the what's her name? The family that has the
Montesi.
Yeah, he says she basically tells her basically to cast the Montesi spell, whatever, and she says I can't because you'll kill you. She's like I'm not gonna wipe out another race.
But you know why this series wasn't as good as it could have been.
Well, because editorial, a lot of that too,
No.
and because it's current day, they're so limited.
No, not that. No Harold H. Harold.
Who's Harold H. Harold? Oh, Galactus?
No. He was in Tomb of Dracula. He was this buck-toothed, just complete loser writer who was obsessed with Dracula. And there was this other character in the book, this bombshell named Aurora, who had a crush on Dracula.
Yeah.
Harold, of course, had a massive crush on Aurora. And they did a storyline where Doctor's son had killed Dracula and he'd been reduced to ashes. And the only thing that could bring him back to life was the tear of a virgin. And Harold goes, where are we going to find a virgin in these times? And Aurora cries into the urn and he comes back to life. So that was the big, shocking reveal was this, smoking hot babe was actually a virgin.
Yeah.
But after the series, in between, the 79 when the series ended and the Doctor Strange story in 82 or 83, whatever it was, Harold, I guess, had become a vampire off camera. And they used him right as the spell was taking effect. They said, and Harold H. Harold saunters into his favorite club. And the next thing you see is like this beam of light reduce him to ash. He was a great character, but I mean, there was no more use for him. But he was, like I said, when you read the later issues of Tomb of Dracula, you'll get to know Harold. And he, like I said, he was just a fun character. So
Maranya, I will say this: the price is a little ridiculous, $7, because just to get what used to be in a $3 book back in the day. I remember early 2000s, you had the Marvel Max where they actually showed guts and stuff. Punisher, the kind of books. So that's what I'm getting in this. So Garth Ennis kind of like gore stuff, but it's all Pepe Larraz art. So I'm, Pepe Larraz doing gore, basically like getting like Pepe Larraz quality I got on Big Game level. If you read Big Game, there was some gore in there too. I saw it, so I'm paying a little more for this because of it's polybag too. I mean, I haven't opened up a single polybag. I don't know if they'll ever be worth anything. I don't know. I just like keeping things in mint condition, whatever. I probably never will sell these, but Like I said, as far as the price, like I said, $7. It'd be better if it was $3.99, and normal prices were back to $2.99. You know, so I'm paying like $1 more, and that'd be reasonable. But with today's society, no one should really be buying any comic books. They are expensive. $4.99 for Batman, or at least it was. I don't know if it's gone up or not, but yeah, it's getting to the point where even the good books, they jack the price up because they know you're going to go buy them.
We need to go back to Jackson's day.
Back in the day, for me, it was 25 cents.
I remember being traumatized when they went up to 30.
Man.
That meant I had to cut a book out of what I was buying.
See, I wasn't reading when they said hold the line in whatever, $2.99 or $1.99, whatever it was.
$2.99, and to DC's credit, they held it for a long time.
I didn't start reading DC till about 2019. I read Marvel back in 2006 and 2005, right around there. That's when I got into comic books, because I was reading the Mighty Avengers and all that stuff when Bendis took over New Avengers. That's when I jumped in.
Well, when Marvel started jacking up to $3.99, when it started happening on a lot on the Dark Reign miniseries.
I remember that.
Because if they thought it would sell well, it was $3.99. If they weren't as confident, it was $2.99. And then by Fear itself, I think everything was $4.
Yep. And I didn't like the events after Siege. I didn't care for any of the really events.
I'm with you. I wasn't 100% opposed to Fear itself, but I didn't like the premise. And then after that, I said I basically, I hung around for about a year of the Marvel Age of Heroes, but then when they started on doing that, I realized I saw the writing on the wall.
I couldn't even tell you what the event is after Fear itself. It's like, I just remember like everybody had a hammer. You get a hammer, you get a hammer, and then
A versus X was the next big one.
Okay, that's the last one I read. After that, I dipped out because I just got sick of it. Especially when I saw that like there was really no everything I liked. I liked the Doctor, Blake, Blake Donald and Thor being separate. I love the fact that when he was Thor, Donald Blake hanged out in the void. He's on a couch, and then he had conversations. I like that concept. I do like that. Now, as I'm reading the older ones, I do like the fact that he would just be Thor. Because I thought they were originally two people at first. But it seems like as I read these older ones, it's just Donald Blake takes on a new form. That's all. He's on the form of
More
Thor.
or less.
But it's still Donald Blake. And,
MK, all of it, because if you took Spider-Man and Batman out of their respective universes, I think it would just it would take the entire universe down with them. So
I gotta say, this was the end. It was kind of a letdown, but I'm also like, where are they going with Doctor Doom being the new Sorcerer Supreme and announcing to everybody that he's the one to save the world, and now he'll be future announcements coming up. I'm like, I don't even want to think about who's in charge of the new event. If there's gonna be a new event, and actually not if there's gonna be like 6 more events.
Yeah.
But like I said, I like this because this is not your typical Marvel. This was more gore and violence and dark compared to what they've been doing. So, all right, top 5. Final Fight. Matt Mullen and Matthew Weldon. Basically, the big dude up there, his daughter gets kidnapped, and then it's up to all 3 of them to go and try and get her back. It's very heavily just basically they pay tribute to so much of the game. It's based on the video game, so it's going to be a video game story, and I'm liking it. And it is a wraparound cover. Weldon's art. This is my first Matthew Weldon book. I've never had another Matthew Weldon book before. I couldn't even tell you what he's worked on, but this is his artwork. Over here. And then I said the interior art is just fun. The big dude now, he used to be a fighter, a wrestler. Now he's like the mayor, and this group want basically kidnap his daughter in order to basically blackmail him into working for them. So he ends up tracing the meeting up with the other two. Learn. I think one of them was actually dating the girl, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure what, but basically they find out where they are. It's funny though, the daughter who's like getting teased by this lady, and then she basically like kicks her, and she's like, "You little braids!" Like, do you honestly think that I would not know how to fight? My freaking father, who's been teaching me since I was little. But and then you get this thing like cartoon, like I said, this is so cool, like busting through the wall like this, Mad Gear is the name of the gang that wants to have control of the city, and then you just get a lot of like these two-page spread fights scenes. So if you're a fan of the game back in the early '90s, it's just fun. You get a lot of wrestling moves in here too. You actually get a power bomb in here. Look at that. The Batista bomb, I like to call it. But yeah, they're fighting on the subway because they busted the thing, and they're just fighting through the whole thing. Like I said, it is a fun book. I'm looking forward to the next one. This is the cover for the next issue. It's just been fun and I like video game books. And normally, like, some of them are not that great. Like I had it was a Street Fighter versus Ninja Turtles. It sucked. It was not that great. This was actually entertaining. So it was supposed to do. Number 4 for this week was Bloodhunt tie-in, Midnight Suns, issue 3 of 3. The team, Johnny Blaze, Johnny Ketch, Katasi Descendant, they're basically at this hospital, which turns out to be like a hellmouth, pretty much like we remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer watching.
Yeah.
There's a gateway to hell. They go in there and they're gonna put a stop to it. And basically, if you're gonna be reading these, you got to read these the tie-ins after you read the final Bloodhunt issue, because they acknowledge what happens in there and everybody learns. But it was interesting because Danny Ketch is the writer right now. Johnny Blaze is not, because of Benjamin Percy and Marvel in general. I mean, at this point, I kind of want to say I give Marvel props for only having one writer at a time. Having more than one ghostwriter kind of would just be like, okay, it's like having a sea of Deadpools. Nobody wants that.
Well, my take on that is Danny Ketch, to me, has kind of achieved like Kyle Rayner status, that even though he predated him, that if you wanted, if Jeremy Adams decided he wanted Kyle Rayner to be the Green Lantern in the book, I'd be fine with that. Same with Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch. I'm fine with either one of them. It's when they stray beyond those two that it becomes a mess. It's like even though he's War Machine now, if they wanted to if they wanted to give James Rhodes another spin as Iron Man, that would be, to me, that'd be perfectly acceptable.
So they explain that the Hellmouth, it's having stacked like basically plane on top of another plane existence on top of another one, and something's trying to escape from one of them because of what's been going on with Varney and all that stuff, the dark magic. So this nurse, they basically asked her, like, the thing is, basically, we're going to ask you to be bait, because the creature that's coming through is attracted to fear. So they basically ask her, like, you can do this, you can help save us, So they have her basically imagine her worst fear, and it was basically when, her kid was, when they're trick-or-treating, her kid got hit by a car. So, and she's just been kind of like just horrified by that. So she thinks it into existence. And then Katase basically does her little spell. The thing comes out of the morgue, the little grotesque demon baby, whatever thing, and they just take it out. Here you see this. That's Johnny Johnny has shotgun Hellfire rounds, which I love. Even though he can't do it normally, he's still using an actual real weapon. And basically Ghost Rider just destroys it, burns it up, holds it. She casts a spell, it falls down, and she's like, "Can you cleanse it for me?" Sure. So he just whips his chain at the ground. And at the end of this, basically they all go their separate ways, and we get to learn the fate of basically of Blade. Tulip had left, and it's been a couple months, and basically Blade's back to looking like his British self. The fro. He's been hiding out halfway across the world because he's ashamed of being what happened in the world. He feels horrified being used. So it's a big kind of cliche thing, but they do tease that there's going to be another Blade. So even though it's on the Elite Comic Geeks, there's going to be another Blade issue number 11. So by Edward Hill.
I'd love to see him go back to having the fro.
Right? As much as I love the Leslie Snipes, the haircuts off.
Maybe hook back up with Saffron.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, this was a fun book. Basically having the Ghost Rider team,
Well, it looks like we've got the same top 3, and I bet they're in the same order.
Well, maybe not. Number 3. Let me take it out of the book so you can see it. Number 3 is different because it's a different. I know you didn't get this book.
Oh, did you not get the Spider-Man Harry Osborn thing?
No, but I did not get Sanction.
Oh, that's right.
They didn't have a shop.
That's right.
So we do not have. So this actually was another final tie-in. Madison Square Garden. Alicia gets a lot of speaking in this. We don't have to read this issue, maybe. So you have a lot more speaking words. Her father is not in this book. Basically, because the vampires it knocked out the generator of the stadium. They had the ultraviolet lights. Reese has been stretching himself constantly, thinner and thinner, to the point where he doesn't have time to rest, and the vampires start attacking. Reed starts kind of bleeding because he can't heal himself as fast. He normally needs to take time to rest before he stretches in between. Meanwhile, back in Arizona by Krennis, I don't know where exactly he lives in there, but they're at the ranch there, and what's her name has been basically holding up a force field. Sue has. Johnny realizes, he just wants, he knows that the vampires are affected by sunlight, so he basically has to find the correct variation of heat or light, and he finally does. So they take turns. They decide to basically go rescue neighbors around them. Well, Reed is basically almost defeated. They retreated down to the basement, and Alicia gives him a pep talk, and he says, hey, you can't cure vampirism. So quit looking at this, the bigger picture. Focus on what you can fix. And he creates a device. This is really cool. They show it. He looks at stuff when it's there, and this is what he sees. He's like, oh, there's a lot of junk right there, and this is what he theorizes in his head. And they do mention him to being the smartest man in the world, not the person. There's always smartest man, or was there a smartest person? But he builds this device that allows him to basically repel vampires, and they go test it out in the middle of the street, and then the sunlight starts coming through, and he's like, there's no way you should be able to do that, And of course, because he hears a voice they're in Times Square, so he hears a voice, and it's Dr. Doom. So at least there's some continuity, though, a little bit. With this, I don't know what's going to go on with that, but Reed's horrified, Doom being the source of the supreme. But like I said, this is a fun book. I normally don't like the Ryan North books. I probably only like it more because it has vampires. I'm more biased when it comes to vampire stuff. They're written good. I say that because DC versus vampires sucked ass.
I've read the one issue, Alicia's the blind private eye.
Yeah.
and I liked it, most of it. So it's he's not bad. It's just
it's not the best. I wouldn't say the best out of Fantasy 4, but it is decent enough to read. I just wish the price was lower, because then I'd probably read some more of it, maybe. But like, so maybe I might get back issues. Who knows? Or I might just buy her Zach's. But better than Dan Slott's. I'll say that. Let's step up. All right, number 2. Spider-Man: Shadow of the Green Goblin. I did not know what was going to happen in this last issue, other than the conclusion. The last issue kind of like was leaving a bad taste in my mouth. It's a story of Peter basically telling a story back before he was dating Gwen. He met Gwen or Harry. It's about a month after Ben dies. He runs into this prototype goblin. At the time, he did not know that basically Norman is the reason why this creature was created. Norman was experimenting with the Green Goblin formula and used it on this poor guy. And this guy ends up being blackmailed by, Harry's mother, who has never died. And it's kind of a creative way how they told that basic story, is that the reason that Harry and them never did, because Norman's always basically been kind of a dick, and basically because he came from a broken home. But doesn't excuse why he went crazy, with everything else, though. But she paints him as being controlling. Now, somebody could say, like, well, these are woke red flags, Not necessarily. Norman has his demons. And when the Green Goblin form, basically, formula actually just made him, took away all the good in him. There's still some good in him. He cares. She does care about Harry in this book. So basically, Harry's mom was basically blackmailing this guy, who becomes a proto goblin, into basically kidnapping her son so she could have a moment to talk to her son. And meanwhile, Peter and Aunt May are kind of on a rocky side. They're not really speaking to each other, one another. And he's coming home with bruises because he's Spider-Man. And she's starting to get kind of like confrontational. I didn't care for that as much, but that's water under the bridge now. I don't really care anymore. But as far as this goes, the ending was actually pretty decent. I did not expect it to stick the landing. I'd still give it a 4 out of 5, maybe a 3.5 stars out of 5. But it wasn't a bad ending, though. I'll say that it wasn't offensive. It wasn't like today's Marvel offensive. And this is not a retcon. I don't look at it as being a retcon. It's just someone just filling in a story. And this takes place in the 90s after Aunt May dies. At least the future part, the present part is.
I think it takes place well past all of that.
Sure.
And it's just that Aunt May's natural lifespan is ending. So I think he's narrating it from a good deal in the future. Because I wondered about that myself, and I thought, he's probably telling his story. He's probably older as he's telling the story.
But he does mention that he's married. So right in there, as I was like,
but I'm guessing it's it's like one of those you hope that they wise up at some point and they're together again in the future with maybe a kid or two and blah blah blah.
Gwen Stacy's they don't even mention Mary Jane in this. It's all about Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn. Gwen Stacy has to go with her dad and dealing with her mom dying of cancer at the time too. So it is touching on the heartstrings. I thought it was still good though. If you're a Spider-Man fan, check this out.
Yeah, when I review it, I will bring up one possible continuity glitch.
Oh, I'm sure there is one. I just glossed over it.
It's not really a glitch so much as I'll explain why.
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to talk about because we think you talked about me last night. Number 1 book of the week. Just absolute fun. I'm looking forward to issue 8. I wish these are coming out every 2 weeks instead of every once a month. It's just fun. You get to learn more about Peter's suit, because it's based off of Stark technology. He basically has the Stark 2.0, where Osborn has Harry only has the 1.0, and they're experimenting on it because Otto Octavius in this, he's not a just grumpy old man who hates Osborn, Norman, all that stuff, because there was no Green Goblin. So he actually is loyal to Harry, and he's working on suits. He's like, you know what? You could put an AI into this. There's an AI function if you want to unlock it. But he's like, you could base on different personalities if you want to help you out, because you guys have been running in safe mode. And he basically tells them, he's like, okay, and he offers like different classical things, Napoleon and hey, it's like, oh, you like Caesar, well, why don't you be like Caesar as your AI? He's like, and Harry's like, no, I want my dad. And of course, his dad was, if he's trying to do a trial against Spidey, and basically experiment, and the suit's telling Harry like, you're worthless, it was like, I'm like, oh no, like I don't want like the suit like corrupting Harry to become Green Goblin. I don't think that's the case, but Peter's like, at first he's like doesn't really want an AI, but he's like, well, just base it off myself, by myself. He's like, okay. And what's crazy about this, the word bubble, and I don't know if this is just kind of like a red herring. I was talking to Air about this. The word bubble that the AI uses to talk to Peter is black with white font. Black bubble, and then it has the white lettering. And I'm just like, and a lot of people are speculating this might end up becoming an AI venom, like a virus, type that affects others. I don't know. Don't really care at this point. Had fun with this. Mary Jane and Gwen go look. They're gonna go buy a building they're meant to be meeting Uncle Ben and Mr. Jameson, Jonah Jameson. Yeah, I was sure there was his last name. It's been a while. Jameson. Yeah, Jameson. Yeah, and of course they're not. They're in an underground parking lot somewhere, meeting someone for information on them. Turns out to be Robbie. Robbie is helping, give some information, and they're like, Robbie, don't you want to join? He's like, no, it's probably better if I stay on working for the Beast, working for the Beagle. I'll be your inside guy for a while, give you information. I hope nothing happens to Robbie. I'll be pissed if he dies. Then Kingpin has a meeting with the guy. Who's the French guy he's meeting with? Do you remember his name? He was the villain in the Ultimates, the new one. They fought against Tony and them.
I don't read Ultimates, so I don't know.
Oh, and he's not. I can't remember. Zach will know right away because Zach probably is like super updated on this. But other than that, though, I thought this was a very decent issue. There was no mention of the kids in this whatsoever. Well, it was a change, but I want to see what's going to go on with this as far as Peter with the AI, because Peter already says like, I already hate it. As soon as I start talking to him, I was like, I regret this. Yeah, maybe Peter will get into. So one of the theories I have, because like Peter doesn't like the AI thing, if Peter decides to make his own suit, if he decides, and it's just like a regular spandex suit, goes to normal instead of using the Stark Tony, which is kind of like the base format for this suit when he got it from Tony, it was a black suit. So people are saying like, oh, it's like an AI silicone, like basically like synthetic, symbiote. So if he ever sheds it and somebody else gets this suit, that's your Venom. Which I really hope they don't do. I don't want Venom. If they do Venom, do it a long time from now, not too far. It's too early. I want this to go on for another like 50 more issues or more.
Yeah, I don't want Venom, but
yeah, I don't want him to like way down the road though. You could sprinkle here and there, but I don't want him like right away and stuff. I know a lot of people don't like Venom, but if this goes for like another, I doubt it's gonna get reached 50 issues though. Knowing Marvel's gonna cancel, be like, yeah, it's too expensive to make because they have to pay Hickman his rage. Yeah, but I liked it. I did get some other stuff. Got the facsimile of Justice League America #1. So, did not get the foil version because I'm not a sucker for foil. But this was okay. Actually, a book that's actually worth $3.99. At least I think it's worth it. Red Sun Omnibus came in finally. So, freaking heavy. This for a freaking soft cover too. This is Red Sonja 1 through 5, the first volume, along with Marvel feature 1 through 7. And also her solo appearances from the Savage Sword of Conan. So, other books I got this week, some other back issues. I just got 4 of them. Was Weird Western Tales, 21. I figured, why not? Anytime I get to see Jonah Hex books, I'm gonna get them. 22. And I got number 23. And then we skipped to number 35. So, and that's it for me this week. Anything else to show off? Mr. Breen, you want to go?
I guess I'll blast through mine real quick.
Did Zach not showing up?
He said he was.
Okay.
But if he's not here by now, he probably won't.
I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure I sent the link. Yeah, I sent the link.
Okay, so I only have 3. And my number 3 is Spider-Man Shadow of the Green Goblin. We talked about this, so we pretty much covered everything except for the possible glitch in continuity. When they did the thing with, when they redeemed Norman, they said that something he did, when he was working on some kind of formula that he ingested some gas that messed with his mind. But they made it sound like that happened a lot later in life. If Harry's mom felt the need to leave Norman years before that, then they made it sound like Norman was, an evil prick long before that. So I'm not sure what is what there. It's a small, gripe, but the series itself was very well done.
I don't mind him coming from a broken home and having issues and stuff like that. Being bipolar or just having, just not being a very nice person. But like you said, he's still at the end. He showed his love for his son.
Kind of. More like he wanted to possess his son.
Yeah.
He didn't want his wife to have him. Number 2 was Sanction. This advances the plot. The higher ups at the precinct where he works are now trying to get him to back off of it, because obviously there's something about this series of murders that the police themselves don't want to get out. And there's a scene where they go to this cabin and find some, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's, the cliffhanger for the second issue it wasn't what you thought, because his wife was calling from a place of safety, so she's fine. But that's all I'm going to spoil about this issue, because I know you haven't picked it up yet or read it.
Well, based on the first 2 issues, it kind of felt like it was like it's politically connected, probably higher up.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, that's going to be fun.
And number 1, of course, Ultimate Spider-Man, because if Ultimate Spider-Man comes out, it's going to be number 1. Vank talked about it. I really like the way this is progressing. I hope they're just dropping, red herrings. If I've got any complaint, I kind of like the idea of, since Ben was alive in this universe and Triple J is a nice guy in this universe, I think I would have been okay with Joe being shady. Yeah. But,
I just don't want him getting found out and then whacked.
Yeah, that could happen.
It wouldn't be right to let them live. They killed Joe. He was our friend.
But yeah, but I guess obviously Joe's on the side of the Angels, and yeah, but again, the way they set it up, they want you to think something's going to happen to Joe.
Do you think Jameson will end up hitting the Spider-Man? Or do you think that that's not going to be the case this universe?
I think the whole purpose of this comic is to give people what they want with Peter and Mary Jane, and B, to do things differently. Like I said, you've got Uncle Ben instead of Aunt May. You've got a legitimately nice man in Jane and Jameson.
Yeah.
That's why I thought Joe as a heel would have probably worked, but he's not, and
we don't know what he gave him. Maybe maybe he is working. He was told to do this.
That would actually be cool, but there's just
you don't know Joe.
Yeah, some things I said. Joe's probably a nice guy in every universe, so that's probably not going to happen. But
because I thought about that as like as if you had Jameson hating on Spider-Man and then he ends up getting the suit on him for whatever reason, like the Venom suit, and it has like Peter's voice, you just drive him nuts. But alrighty.
Yeah, so that's all I got, and I don't have any back issues or
right.
No trades came out. So
yeah, well, like I said, there isn't really much to talk about, man. As far as comic books, I mean, the blood hunt event's over at Marvel. I did read that Jeremy Adams tie-in for the absolute garbage events that's going on at DC. Mainly because I wanted to see what was going to go on with Carol. And so basically the JSA, it starts off with the JSA members, Alan Scott, fighting against this Amazo. It steals his power. And then I guess it basically sucks. When it takes the power, it also absorbs his will. So it starts questioning its own directives. And they're trying, and then this basically they're able to, it shuts down. They flee in this van. Carol wakes up in the excuse me. She wakes up in the van, and basically she has no idea what's going on. Wildcat's kind of like being a little creep a little bit, and it's kind of like, I don't know. He's like an old man trying to flirt with her a little bit. It was kind of weird, but yeah, they explain what's going on. They don't know where Hal is. They just know that they found her at the trailer, and she was in a crater. So they end up going across the Fates Tower while the Mazo robot finally wakes up after absorbing basically what's it called, the truth. What's the name of Alan Scott's will thing? His power stuff. Isn't it? It's called Starfire or something like that, or
I don't know.
Starheart or something. I can't remember what it's called. But it basically goes back to Waller, and Waller's like, why don't you come back here? And she's questioning it. So it goes back out to look for them, and just as they arrive at Fate's Tower, the Mazo robot shows up and basically is gonna attack them. And he's like, Alan Scott basically says, you know what? Let us go, because and the robot's like, no, I have questions about this. Why do I suddenly have this other voice in my head, and he says that's called free will. You have a choice, this, and basically Alan says, how about I stay with you? If you answer your questions, you let them go, and that's kind of how it ends with him going, them going in the Fates Dr. Fates Tower, and Alan Scott basically saying, take me to your leader. Like I said, it wasn't bad for Jeremy Adams. It was great to see that, but it felt really short, really, really short. And like I said, I'm not reading the whole event, but I checked it out. It was okay. But like I said, I just don't care for a lot of what's going on in DC. I love Jeremy Adams. Green Lantern, that may be the only book I'm gonna still get, I guess, when it comes out. But I dropped Superman. I dropped Our World's Finest. What I'm going to do with Superman, when it comes back down, if the price ever drops, the back issues, if it goes down to like $1 issue, $2 issues, then I'll probably grab it. but I don't want to pay full price for these, anymore.
Well, I was enjoying Superman, but
I am.
yeah, I said, my stance is clear, and
I don't. Well, it's not even like the stand. It's just I'm tired of paying like for a book, and then here's an event. 3 issues later, here's another event.
No, I
Point where
totally get that.
It gets hard to actually just care about the book because it's like watching a movie and then here's a commercial. All right, I'm gonna watch another movie. I'm gonna keep 30 minutes into the movie. And it's like here's another commercial. It's like having 4 commercials in the middle of a 2-hour movie. I don't watch movies on TV because of commercial breaks. It takes you right out of the movie. And it gets to the point where what should have been an hour and a half or hour movie is now extended because of the freaking 15-minute commercials. But like I said, I'll pick up the back issues. I'll actually I might even just get a trade when it gets cheap enough. That might be easier. But the only thing I'm actually looking forward to from DC is that on the line is when it's gonna be Teeny Howard leaving the book for Catwoman, and I forgot who is taking over. Torn Grimbeck. I'll support her. I like her work. So, what we got over here in the chat here? The way they lettered that Spider-Man cover reminds me of what happened to comics in the past 2 decades. I think you're talking about the Goblin one.
Yeah.
Pro Goblin with the words like Redeem Osborn is still there to gauge the fact that he isn't dead. Well, he died like 3 times where we thought he was dead. He just keeps.
No, he died at the end of Spider-Man 122, and he came back, I think, right after the Clone Saga.
Yeah,
the second one. So he's actually been back from the dead for like 27, 28 years now.
Yeah. One of these days, we need to see Breen's horror book collection. Didn't he say in one of these videos he needed to find a horror book to complete his collection?
No, that wasn't me.
That'd be a Mark Waid book. Oh. Actually, what do you mean a Mark Waid book? What would be a book that you just despise the most? Not the writer, but just the writing. I can't I'm trying to think of who is like right now currently the worst writer. Like, it's a toss up between Vita, Danny Lore, Maggie Fitzmartin, Teeny Howard. They're all so far like on the bottom of like the dumpster fire. I don't know who I would not want. I don't want any of them. If I had to choose, like, who's the less of that evil? But
yeah, Jackson. I think Marvel was good for about the 5 years after that, but in a different kind of way than what we were used to when we were kids. If you just take that era, self-contained, I like it, but yeah, a lot of characters were written out of character and whatnot. But the events were not without their plot holes, but again, I thought very well done, and for about 5 years it was a very compelling company to read.
Was it 2007 or 2006? They had Marvel Knights. You had the Daredevil and Punisher and Spidey and those the Marvel Knights versions. Those were really
those were good. But the most of the main line was not.
No.
And
X-Men was, I guess, had fallen off. They went to Messiah Complex, or actually no, it was M Day, wasn't it? No More Mutants. Was that in the 90s or is that
no? That was House of M in 2004 and 5.
Yeah. There was that, and then they said like they had events. It got to the point where after Civil War is kind of where I think where Marvel started to really just like falter, really, just fall. It lost its footing, and it was falling off the cliff because it was like a slow fall. So they were going slow.
When are you saying it started falling off a cliff?
Civil War.
I disagree. I thought that's where
they were still like hanging on, like climbing. But it was like because Siege was like the last good event for me. But the main books though, weren't really that fun. Like I was reading Thor. Thor was all right, but Venice Avengers, he said like that just started going to shit by the second volume, and it's just got the point where I didn't really care about a lot of the stuff anymore. No. I like Civil War. I just don't like it when they put up woke nonsense. I mean, like I'm talking about the original Civil War. Like, yeah, I didn't care for the fact that it was so out of character for Spider-Man to take his mask off. I don't. I understand that was a big part of the whole entire thing, but I don't think he realistically would have done that.
No, again, that's why I preface put those 5 or 6 years in in its own box.
Its own separate universe. That would have been great. Civil War would have been great if it'd be self-contained. But yeah, it was just yeah. As a Spidey fan, you're reading this, like you're going through we made it through the Clone Saga, all this stuff, made it through the '90s, and just get to the point where we're just gonna have Aunt May finally is gonna die, and he's like, I'm gonna go make a deal with the devil to save my aunt's life because nobody can save her life. Not even Doctor Strange. Everyone he went to see is like nobody could save this old lady's life. Yeah,
it's my
it's
take.
so weird.
Marvel, the Marvel that I knew, kind of died right in the beginning of the 21st century. After they sold the characters to Image or licensed them to Image, and then they came back, and they put writers back on the titles. Iron Man, Cap, Thor, Avengers, and Fantastic Four. And for a couple of years they were really good, but then when Jamas took over, he didn't care. And so I said, if you look at Marvel starting with House of M, as if it were a brand new company, you just knew all the characters through Siege. I liked it, but the Marvel characters that I know, that it's 60s through the mid 90s.
Like they were, like I say, like when the woke nonsense didn't start until like 2015, I want to say, or I don't
Actually
think
2012 when they did all new X-Men, and the way they promoted it was they were proud that it was all women, all covered from head to toe. That was when they basically said, get ready, guys, we're kicking you out of your hobby.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, I remember like when they did the all new, all different for like the 14th time when they had Amadeus Cho. That's kind of when I was just like, I'm out. Like, you're gonna replace Thor, you're gonna replace Hulk, you're gonna, it's like Iron Man's gonna be a really hard or whatever. And like, I'm just like, I don't care anymore. That was around 2008, I think, that when they killed him off, right? They killed off Tony.
No.
Right when his movie came out, that wasn't Iron Man dead in the comic universe. They killed him off. I thought so.
No, they killed him off. They killed him. I think Carol killed him.
Because I thought he was out of commission, like that time. I don't know. It's been a while. I just remember, like, it just after you break up the marriages, they broke up Spider-Man's marriage, and then I saw what DC was doing in 52. I'm like, wow, is everybody just anti-marriage and just wants to start over and just erase everybody that was loving this stuff? Like, I read the Hal. I mean, like, I dipped in the DC for a while. I read like the Hal Jordan and the Corpse, whatever it was, or Core, sorry, and it was like, it was okay, but then I'm like, it was a 3 issue. Then it was basically Hal Jordan without his ring, and then he like sacrificed himself in the jet. I think that's what the story was, and I was just like, this is so depressing. And then anytime I tried to read the New 52, as far as like with I started getting with the Venditti's run on Green Lantern, I dipped into that, and then it's like, Carol's like, Hal, like, let's just take a break. And then not even 2 issues later, I love you, Kyle. I was just like, what is this nonsense? I'm like, Kyle, at this point, it became like, Space Jesus. He could channel any lantern he wanted to without having it near him, just by thinking about it. He was full on Spectrum.
Yeah,
and then he had accused dating Carol on top of that. I was just like, what is? And I did not realize this was Venditti until I talked to our friend Evil Black Cat. He's like, no, go back and look at that. That was Venditti. I'm like, was that Venditti or is that like editorial telling Venditti to do that? Oh, I was like, at that point, I was like, I'm just done. I dipped out, didn't come back until about end of 2018, early, and beginning of 2019.
Just for it all to go to hell again.
I know, right? I stopped. But the good thing about this though is that me coming back in 2019, I started reading Flash books. The current with Joshua Williamson was on Flash. Never been a big Barry Allen fan. I was more of Wally West. And I had read some Wally West back in the day, but around Isle of Comics, we started talking about the new books coming out every week. We did my Monday night or We've Got Issues stories, and I started reading the Josh Williams. Like, oh, this is really good. Jared Mann takes over. Flash is phenomenal. I've just been loving it. And then DC starts shitting the bed again. So I start reaching out to start reading some Brubaker books. Brubaker, who wrote A Winter Soldier, fantastic book. I'm going back and start checking out his indie books now and some of his other stuff. And then I start branching off into Dynamite, and I see Xenoscope, check out that, some Image books. I'm to the point where I'm starting to read more indie books than I am reading Marvel and DC, because the characters I want to read are not the characters that they used to be.
No, and that's why
it's so. I said I don't hate the big two. I just don't like the people running it. I love the characters. It's just the bad writers.
That's why Maranya keeps pointing out plot holes involving Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said there are plot holes. My go-to line is when Johnny Storm called the New Warriors a bunch of C-listers when one of the ones that had been killed had been his girlfriend like a year ago in the comics, which with a sliding time scale would have been like a month and a half. But again, like I said, if you just put it in a box, because the stories, there were good ideas, there were people written out of character, but as just like a continuing story, it was entertaining, and Marvel can't even do that anymore, as far as I'm concerned, and haven't been able to since then. But then again, I don't know that DC has had a great event since Blackest Night. So that's kind of,
I hear you.
To me, 2010 is kind of like when the danger you start seeing the cracks. By 2012, obviously DC was an entirely new company. Marvel was starting the all new, all different. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And from what I understand, Age of Ultron wasn't bad, but I've never read it.
2000, I think it was 2010 or 2011. I started at 88 Mile Per Hour Studios. Came out with the Ghostbusters comic books, and then IDW bought the right. Eric, I was awarded the rights to do it. I was reading Ghostbusters, man, and I had just more fun reading Ghostbuster comic books, than I was reading the current Marvel and DC. And like I said, I just got the point where if I went to the comic book store, I was buying one book, and that was Ghostbusters, and that was like every other like week or how after it came out. I mean, I love Thor. I love the Donald Blake, and then they killed off Donald Blake, and it's like, and now Cates brings back Donald Blake as a villain.
Yeah, well, it's a
I was like, what?
Donny Cates was very overrated because he stood out in a sea of mediocrity. MK Convergence was fun. I don't know that I'd call it an event because I don't know if there was a beginning and end to it. I know that there was about 52 issue miniseries that you got to see different versions of characters from different universes and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But then none of it was ever referenced again because that's kind of how the events are now. They just truly don't matter.
Yeah, like I said, on this channel, we don't like the shit on. I don't like. There's so many channels that to talk about what's bad in the comic book industry, I try to do my best to show what's still good, because a lot of people are running off this hobby and saying there's nothing good whatsoever. Now you could argue and said like, well, it's not worth it personally to you because there isn't that much that hold your interest. Sure, you know, but
Roland, both of us are enjoying Ultimate Spider-Man very much.
it is probably the best Spider-Man's
Yeah,
been.
it's very well done. It's because it doesn't have to adhere to anything that happened before or after, and it's well written, and it gives people what they want.
It gives you Mary Jane and Peter being married with kids. Peter basically having to never been Spider-Man because if you remember what read the Ultimates Fantasy 4, you had the Maker. Well, the Maker decided to go into his own another universe and make it in his own version of that world where heroes did not become heroes, and he just his own perfecting world. So Peter ends up getting this device from young Tony Stark, who ends up basically and basically tells like, hey, you're he basically sent out to all the heroes of that universe, says you're supposed to be a hero. Do we accept or not accept? And Peter finally accepts, and he gets like the suit and all stuff. So like you said, it's actually been really fun. It's a different universe. Uncle Ben survives in this one. Aunt May is the one that did not survive. It's Jameson's been fun in it. It's basically what we wanted. We wanted the basically. It's not the. I won't say it's perfect, because if my perfect version of Spider-Man would have been, he never would have divorced her. They never would have erased the marriage. The original Spider Girl, the daughter May, she basically would have been born, and instead of them this backtracking on it. But no, it's been fun. It's like I said, Hickman understands that what people want, what sells. I think he's actually a fan of Spider-Man too. I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's a fan of the characters he writes, which you need to have, and that's what makes a good writer. Chuck Dixon was a fan of everything he writes, and that's why in the '90s and stuff, and until today, when he writes, he puts his heart into it. He's like, I'm not gonna that's what I love about these writers. They're not gonna write just to get paid. They're gonna write because they have a story to tell.
Don't worry, Maranya. Dan Slott's giving us a brand new Spider Girl.
I saw that.
Oh Lord,
he needs more royalties of things that are never gonna get popular. If it create 100 Spider Girls, maybe one of them will actually become popular, right?
Roland, if you have a way to get the first issue, first printing, cheap, get it, because it's worth $50 right now.
I don't know if they released a volume yet, trade yet. Soon, right?
I'm sure it will be soon. But,
yeah, because they're on.
I can't believe. Yeah. I knew when it like the day after it came out, people were getting big bucks for it, but it's still hanging in there 6 months later.
Yep, it's on its 6th printing too, isn't it?
That's Maranya's last comment.
Oh, he's behind his DoorDash bill. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want, if you like CGC slabbed, I just wanted to read the story, and that's I would say if you can hold up for the trade, it might be a bit more cheaper than trying to buy individual issues. But
or you could just get a later printing. There's some because it's the let's see, wow, the second and third printing are double figures.
I know, right?
But the 4th, 5th, and 6th are $6. So that's
who were on the second, the third. Those printings is like J. Scott Campbell and stuff. I can see why those might jack up the price if it's like a good artist.
No, this one they really haven't. It's just the reason why the one's 10 is it's still a demand. Wow, yeah. So that's I'm just glad I actually accidentally got something the first time. The first printing. Wished I'd gotten 2 or 3 now, but
like Walking Dead.
Shut up.
You know what though? I'm with you though. I was at when Walking Dead originally came out. I wrote it off. I said this looks like crap. black and white. Who wants to read a black and white story?
Yeah, but you didn't have your LCS owner tell you the stories about when Lil Robbie used to come into his store when he was a kid. So he was promoting the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just all I heard was he started sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher, because all I saw was a black and white zombie book, and who cares? And
But
wow, did I the hell, if I'd been buying that from issue 1, I could have sold like the first 30, 40 issues of it and done really, really well.
yeah, like I said, when I went and sat down and actually read it, though, I just couldn't put it down. That's how it was when I actually got the CD-ROMs back in the day collection for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was reading like about 20 issues a night. I just go through them. It was just so much fun, just going through next one, and it's just the point where I was like, "Oh, this is just so much fun," because like they didn't have the crossover events if they went to the Spectacular when they got to later issues. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what happened in this rest of the story. So, but it was fun. I'd go to school, then I go to work, and then I get home. I'd like spend about an hour or two just read comic books, and it was just I had fun with it. So Walking Dead is nice because a lot of the storytelling is through the art and not as through as much as the words, which I like because not many people do that. And like I said, like I just fell in love with the story. The story was really, really good. I've been collecting the Walking Dead Deluxe books, which are in color. So it's been because I don't have the individual issues of the Walking Dead in black and white. I've read them. I read the trades. And that's about it. So I was like, okay, might as well get the new one. And the new one has a little mini stories in the back, which are kind of cartoonish thing, But it's like it's cool to compare the black and white to what's in color because a lot of stuff that pops out that I did not see in the black and white because it kind of blended in. So when I see in the color, it's like, whoa, that's kind of cool. Did not notice that before. So like I said, it's and like I said, my thing is like Kirkman's like, what if he continues? He says like, because he ended in black and white. He ended the whole story. But what if he starts going in and tells that little story gap? What happened between whatever, like because he did a flash forward at the end of Walking Dead, so Carl's all grown up and stuff. But I'm like, what if they go tell it in between that, and then they get to the end? That'd be really cool if he Kirkman just continues the series, But maybe he won't. But it's a way for me to collect it instead of having to buy the trades. I can actually have individual issues. So, but Luke Cogstar was in the early issues of Kirkman Page, Shadowline Comics. The first 50 issues I liked a lot. And all the early issues I had multiple printings. Back in the day, it was the best. Honestly, it's funny you say that. So as I went back later on in life, and I read them on order, and then in the world was looking good for a zombie story, and the point in time came out was the best. Yeah, ironically, The Walking Dead was like it when it came out. That was the perfect time for like an actual story like that. And then it got so popular they made a show about it. The show was not that great. I like the first 2 seasons. Third season was kind of eh. I waited till they introduced Negan, and then I went back and I just binge watched it on Netflix. And I was like, some of the episodes were kind of like, okay, this is boring. But once I got into the Negan War, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I hadn't read the comics, so you get Jeffrey Dean Morgan on there, who's just a badass in general. He's in the new season of The Boys in there. He interacts with Butcher a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fantastic actor. Whenever he's in, he just plays a badass. So I just really like his portrayal of Negan. And I went and read the books. I'm like, man, the only difference between him and the comic book is that he doesn't use the word cocksucker or dick and all that shit. Talking about shoving his dick at people, like they really toned down his language. But other than that, he's like spot on Negan. I like it. So The Walking Dead, I'm watching the spin-off shows. They're all right. They're gonna come back with the second season of Daryl's show where he's in France. So I'm not sure where that's gonna go, where they left it off. But I'm looking forward more with Negan and Maggie in the Dead City. So it's just a really fun show. But Yeah.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I bailed years ago, but
Yeah.
the last episode of whatever, when they realize they're not going to do any more spinoffs, I hope Maggie needs to brutally murder Negan.
Yeah. At this point, she tried to at this point. She basically left. She made up a story about Herschel being kidnapped and all this stuff, and she basically was gonna. She made a deal to give this people Negan in exchange for like stuff. She didn't give a
Well, I'm
shit.
talking about well,
But
Herschel. Are we talking comics or the series?
series
Well, Herschel got eaten by zombies when I was watching it.
Herschel is their name of her son.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's what his name is. Yeah, Herschel Jr. or something like that or something.
okay.
Yeah, name like her father. Yeah, or I can't remember what his name is. It's something like that. I think
Well,
it's
if it was after her father, it'd be Glenn Jr., but
well, no, her father is Herschel.
right. But that wouldn't make a junior.
Whatever. I don't care. It's beside the point. No. So like, she screwed over Negan, and then like I said, it's like Negan had his redemption arc, but like Maggie can't let it go. And I don't know. It's interesting to see what happens. I think eventually he probably will die, but I mean I don't. It might not be the hand of Maggie. It's because it's his choice.
Well, I'm saying that
He gave him a redemption arc.
but the reason I say it is, nothing he does, just like when they would have Harry and Peter working together, or I'm sorry, Norman and Peter working together.
Yeah. You don't want.
I'm sorry, I he could have redeemed himself all he wanted, but he still killed Gwen. And no matter how much redeeming Negan did, he still beat Glenn, Maggie's husband to death in front of her eyes.
And Maggie wants to kill him. So yeah, like I said, I don't know how it's gonna end. If she kills him, shoots him, kills him, maybe her revenge will consume her, and he'll take her out. They'll both go out the same. But
well, I guess we should probably wrap this up so we can get over.
Yeah, I know. Since Zach's not showing up,
no, doesn't look like he is.
No, I don't see him anywhere. He said he'd be here. We've been talking for the past about 20 minutes,
give or take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Okay.
He's in the chat.
We got cover rankings to do soon. Hopefully he gets his little tush in here. And Joe's off his 3 books.
Oh, we don't have time now, and he's getting up at 3:00 in the morning to go catch a flight tomorrow. Remember?
Zach is?
Yeah.
What? He says I'm still 5 minutes from home.
Well, if you want to come on to the cover thing for a couple minutes before you get to bed, that's cool because we'll be over there.
I can wait a little bit here because I'll jump on the cover after I'm done here.
All right.
If he wants to do that. I'm having fun. We got 8 people watching still. So, Zach, I don't know how it takes you that long to get here. What's tonight covers? Oh, whoa. But with the way you're going, you won't even reach those either.
I don't remember what we're doing tonight.
Is
tonight 1985 or
that's tomorrow, isn't it?
I don't remember.
Let me look. Does he even have anything scheduled? He might not even have a schedule tonight yet.
Well, you didn't see. He hasn't sent a link yet, but
no, nothing's scheduled. Nothing's scheduled in here. There's no. We did Strankle last night, so I don't know. Maybe there isn't anything. Maybe E is. Normally he sends me something. He's like, here, this. No, I haven't got anything from him. So he probably hasn't created it, and he might not even. He may be crashed. But oh. All right, but yeah. Either way, it's better to have more zombie stuff. Honestly, kind of how I feel with the vampire stuff. I mean, as long as it's written well, like I don't mind vampires like being a story. Like I said, the bloodhunt was kind of cool because I love I grew up watching the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I started reading some of those Dark Horse books. Green, they're fun.
For what?
For Buffy.
The original series I like a lot.
Yeah.
It's just in about 2008 or 9 when they did the season 8.
Yeah.
It inexplicably had Buffy sleep with a chick, and then it got really, really SJWE, and I have never read one since.
I
the
remember
only good Buffyverse title of the last 15 years was an Angel and Faith series that I think oh crap, what was his name? Chris Gage was the writer, and the artist was the guy doing Flash Gordon.
Oh, okay. Will Conrad.
Will Conrad, yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say though, is I love that art they used on there for the cover and stuff. But when I read the 2019 reboot that was by Boom Studios, Dan Mora was on those first 5 issues, and holy crap, the interior looked like Sarah Michelle Gellar. All that stuff, I couldn't believe. It was like when I saw that, I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" And I had no idea who this guy was. This is before he went to DC and blew up. So like I said, that's like, man, DC's just poaching all the good artists. But who knows? Maybe Dan Mora, if they, right now he's got it made. Now I'm sure they're paying him pretty well. He's probably you think he's probably the highest paid artist there, in DC right now, because a lot of them left.
He should.
I can't.
Since Jeff Johns took Jason
Rice.
Fabok and Ivan Rice and Brian Hitch with him, I would say probably.
Yeah, because it looks like Hitch is still doing some stuff at DC, but I think what it is that it's older stuff they're pushing out finally because everything's been delayed. Because Hitch was on Green Arrow, wasn't he? I think he did some covers. I don't think if he's in the interior art.
They have.
Because I thought all of them still have stuff coming out. Like John still has work coming out for DC, but he's no longer making stuff.
I think that might be over now. I'm not sure, but I DM'd E. Are we doing covers tonight? And he hasn't seen it, so
yeah,
I don't know if we are or not now.
Where you at, Zach? If Zach's not here in the next 3 minutes, we'll probably end the stream.
Well, the sorry for the no-show guys probably include that he's probably not going to show.
But I'll wait. I'll give him 2 more minutes. If he doesn't show, then we'll end it. But any other questions, comments, concerns, or just questions about stuff, guys in the chat? Roland, thank you for showing up and participating. Always love that. Jackson. Oh wait, do we call him Ray Kirk or Roy Kirk?
Well, I'm a little disappointed that he didn't give us a detail of what he got.
Yeah, too. Yeah. Jackson said he got some boxes from my comic shop.
He had 21 things.
Yeah. I wonder what it is. I need an unboxing.
That's it. Yeah, I'm actually going to a couple stores on Sunday to make up for the wasted trip to Dayton 2 weeks ago. That we're going to the place where I found the Cap 100 and the Hulk 102 cheap.
Oh.
I'm hoping against hope to maybe find an Iron Man or Submariner #1 that I can actually afford.
Falls of the Gotham Reign, 19 comical. Okay.
Oh, very cool. That Kazar series is phenomenal.
That's cool. He also said he picked up some Tarzan. Doug Kulke, 178. Winter Soldier, 1A, cover card 8. Mad Magazine Special Edition. What else we got here? Classic Punisher trade reprints, the 2 magazines which I'll never own.
They're not cheap. You're right.
Oh yeah, Doomsday Squad, and then reprints Doomsday #1, and then we also got. Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah, okay. I just picked up the Web of Horror hardcover that Jeff Geeky's he got. And when I'm reading that, I go, man, one of these stories looks awfully familiar, because I had Reese's Pieces in my old collection.
I had Reese's Pieces yesterday. Our Army War facsimile. And they had Mad Magazine facsimile. And then Young Romance. Ooh, there we go. 125. I think that's the one I think that's the one that came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
What we got here? Sin Fantastico. Sin Fantastic. Highlander. Ooh. Red Bradbury TV series. Nice. The Reese's Pieces are in color.
Yeah, the original story is in black and white in the magazine.
I like the orange and brown.
Colorized for the Reese's Pieces.
I want Reese's Pieces now. Dang it! Can't talk about that. And I'll say Reese's Pieces are better than peanut butter cups.
Oh, just got home. Turning on the PC now.
Alrighty.
Oh, okay. You come over and join us when you're done, because
he's almost done. I think Zach got like 3 or 5 books.
Well, he just sent a link, so it is time. So I'm going to head over there. So
it's time. It's main
event. All right, see it over there.
Yeah, over there. All right, now he's gonna get this up with me for a little bit until he jumps on. For Reese's Pieces mixed with plain M&Ms and for a better peanut butter cup. Actually, Reese's Pieces and a cookie is probably the best combination. All right, as we traded one, we'll get for the other. So, hello, Zach.
Hey, finally, my screen wasn't loading at all. I thought that I was having issues there. I started turning off my computer at night when I'm done, so I had to boot it back up. Sorry about that, guys. Bible study ran long tonight. It's all good, though.
So, a lot of confessions?
No, we're not Catholic. Just ran long.
Whoa, look at that. We're not Catholic.
We're not. I mean, no dissing on Catholics, but we don't do that.
Just the way you said it is like, I'm not Catholic.
So I do have a confession, though. I only got to read one of my 4 books today. I did not get to read the other 3. I'm sure you spoke at length about one of them, though.
Actually, all of them. And I reviewed the book that I didn't buy, which is
Summoner. I did not mean any offense by that. It's just we don't do confession. That's all. All right. Sorry about that.
They keep all their sins inside.
Sorry to Breen. Sorry to the chat. I didn't know it was going to be that long, and it's just been a manic day. Busy day.
It's storming here by me, so I had to quick run and get my stuff done. So.
Well, that's fun. Good to know. Right. I'm flying up to that tomorrow. All right.
What? Where are you going?
We're flying up to Cincinnati in the morning, and then we're driving from Cincinnati to Indiana.
Oh, ain't that bad. Yeah, it'd be fine.
So it probably won't be that bad.
No, Indiana's like going into like a desert probably. Like there's probably nothing there.
It's still going to be hot, and it's actually going to be very similar to the weather down here. I was kind of hoping for something nicer, but that's not going to be the case.
That's case here too, man. I got humid weather up here as well.
Yeah. 4 new books. I do have some back issues also. If folks are interested in those will probably be more interesting than the weekly polls.
I talked about your precious Jeremy Adams book too.
My precious Jeremy. That was one of the ones I didn't get to read yet.
I did read it though, and I don't own it.
You did read it, or you didn't?
I did read it, but I don't own it.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay. Whoa.
It was short and sweet.
That's fine. That's all I want.
Didn't really. I mean, it's explained a little bit with Carol, but like didn't really explain more. I think you're getting more on the book Green Lantern about what happened to her and all that stuff.
I am probably going to read this on the plane at some point tomorrow. Justice League of America #1. Even though it's Barry, I don't care for Barry. I got the variant cover for Bloodhunt #5. No Blade Daughter on it, which is probably the main reason I bought it.
And I gotta say the ending is pretty crazy, and especially
look at this armor. That's such a cool armor. The ending was good. Did you like it?
I thought it was pretty good. They're going into also.
I heard Wait, what about Ryan North?
I read the Ryan North Fantasy Four tie-in and Reed's reaction to who is the new Sorcerer Supreme.
Is it Doom?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes
So,
sense.
but I mean, I like the tie-ins. The tie-ins were really good. Plus, the main story was okay, but like, yeah, they're really pushing like they really want Doom and I'm not because of the movie comes out
I
next
think
year.
no, I did. Well, I don't know. They're all under Feige. The comics and the movies, they gotta all be
Yeah.
under the same thing. I did get. I don't even really care for this artist, but it had Stripe on it. I mean, and Our Man.
They're all in that book too.
I mean, when was the last time Stripe was in a book?
I forgot
I'll
about.
tell you. I don't know.
I'll tell you, and that was during when Stargirl show was still on. They did that summer special.
Oh, you're right. You're right. But that was like 4 years ago. This was the one book I did get to read. I did get to read Ultimate Spider-Man #7. I was really intrigued by this. They do the whole thing. I'm sure you've talked verbatim on this.
With the Venom possibility.
Oh no. I liked the whole AI thing.
That's what I'm talking about. His AI was black.
You think the AI? Oh, I didn't even pick up on that.
And it's based on his personality. So one of it loves his kids more than he does, and when he rejects it,
I like that.
So the original suit when he got it was black, and it was a symbiote.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is the. I like the whole Harry Osborn having his dad. Like, first of all, Harry, that was a dumb idea. That was just dumb. You should not have done that. Your dad was a maniac.
But I'll just say this. It fits in key because every universe, Carrie's he's always trying to seek his dad's approval.
Yeah.
Even before this, it's related to his character.
Yeah.
So why would he not?
Sidebar: I did like the J. Jonah Jameson and Ben Parker having the inner mole of the Daily Bugle, Robbie being like in the belly of the beast. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Otto just being like really. That was all right. For all of my older folks in the chat, I'm sorry, but I really liked where Otto was like trying to explain stuff, and Peter was like, "Is this guy okay?" And Harry was like, "Just let him cook. He's fine. Let him cook." That's the let him do
Peter's
his thing.
He's like, Chase, you don't know what he's talking about. And he's like, I have no idea.
No idea. So I thought that was entertaining. I'll go through these briefly because I know E did send a link in the DM, so they are doing the thing. I did get my books from his auction. So I got some Masquerade #1. That's Frank Cho. That Gam. Beautiful. I got a copy of The Thing. This is issue number 28.
Yep.
The Thing versus Demolition. Is that Demolition Man? I think maybe.
I don't know.
We got Isis #1 in her own magazine. I forgot that I had paid. Some of these books I forgot that I bid on. Like Deathmate Black. I completely forgot that I bid on that. But then
I think I do that for a quarter in my shop.
We got Flash 750 80-page giant. The Scarlet Speedster versus Barry Allen.
You didn't read that?
Mm-mm.
Really? Oh.
This I freaking love this though. Like, man, I could stare at this all day. That's just cool. This is Flash number. Well, this has got to be a variant. That's Jason Fabok, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That is wicked cool. Then there's this. I think this is also. Is this lenticular? No. Kind of. Actually, no. It kind of is. I think you go up and down maybe, but it's Eobarthon. Yeah. And then we have Sergeant Fury Special Marvel Edition featuring Cap and Bucky. Love that.
I love his pose. He's like.
Yeah, I know. And then the good stuff. The good stuff, folks. We got Miss Marvel number 36.
Let me go grab mine. I'll bring you.
I know. Well, hey, I think I beat you for some of these.
All right. Well, the thing is, I already have a lot of
these flotation devices.
I have 8 books left. I have to get. That's it.
Got some more right there. This one with Sleepwalker and Machine Man. That's kind of cool.
That covers everywhere. There's like multiple copies in my shops.
This one, the Secret Invasion tie-in. Ed Benez. I think that's Ed Benez anyway. Unless there's another Benez in comics. Another Secret Invasion tie-in.
It's a well-known fact. The even scroll version of Carol Danvers is hotter than current kind of Danvers.
This I really love this cover. That's a cool one. The scroll when they're like, hold hands with the scrolls. Is that Ron Mars? That can't be Ron Mars. That's got to be another Mars. We got Dark Reign, her going binary. That's pretty cool. Where's the good? Here's some good stuff. War of the Marvels.
My shop made me pay $4 for each of those.
4?
Yeah.
That one. This isn't when she had Star. She had like another doppelganger or something at the time.
No, I think it is Moonstone.
Oh, is it Moonstone? That's right. Dark Avengers. That's right. This one where it's like, I guess Mystique was pretending to be Miss Marvel. This is during Siege. This is the pièce de résistance. This is the final issue number 50. Mystique in the background, and that's just cool. I dig that. This is obviously, I think this is like a invasion thing, maybe. No, that's not a scroll. That's Cyclops. Look at that, Moon Knight. He was a big deal even back then. So, yeah, got all of these books this week, courtesy of our friendly neighborhood auctioneer. And yeah, I'm going to be reading the Justice League. I may try to read the JSA, the Absolute Power tie-in. I may try to read that tonight before I go to bed. And then the Bloodhunt. I do want to finish Bloodhunt. I still need to find Bloodhunt number 4. And me being the ditz that I am, I didn't get last week's Dick Tracy either. I keep forgetting about Dick Tracy. I need to put a reminder on my phone.
I had to get sanctioned because I didn't have it in my shops.
I know I got to go make sure that I can pre-order it or something. So, but that's it. That's all my books for this week. Ultimate Spider-Man was amazing. I think if there's one book you got this week, that should be the one for sure. But yeah, I will pop over to E's auction. I'm buzzed. I had coffee at Bible study, and that was a bad idea.
Cover ranking.
Yeah, I know. I had coffee.
But you said auction, though.
Oh! See how I'm tired and buzzed at the same time, so I apologize. But yeah, I'll hop over there, though. Flash 86 from 1946. Nice. So, I was right. So the Demolition Guy, the thing on that boxing poster is it's the Wolverine. It's the guy. He's got like a Wolverine costume, but with a big D on the chest. That's who I was thinking of. Okay, good deal.
That sounds dirty.
Well, now he's gay, so it probably is. But yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you tomorrow. I got X-Men book coming up. The next issue of Uncanny X-Men we're reading tomorrow night. And I still have to schedule another one. So we'd be surprised. Whatever. See you where I love comics.
Bye.